So we're just waiting for our attendees to join us here, and then we'll kick it off with Randy and Podiatry Content Connection. They're going to talk about something new tonight. How do I target a specific patient type online? So we'll get started here in just a couple minutes.
And I'm actually really excited about this too, because if you've been on Practice Partner Academies with us in the past, especially with Podiatry Content Connection and anything marketing related, you know that I am obsessed with targeting and kind of creating a niche type of practice. I'm not saying you have to do that, but I just really appreciate it. And I think it's really important to segment and to target and to focus. And that doesn't mean you have to necessarily only treat a specific type of patient. It doesn't mean you only have to see diabetics. It doesn't mean you only have to see children or sports med. But it is really, I think it is really advantageous, or it would behoove you to spend your marketing dollars to target, because then you can really create a very specific message. And I think the tracking and determining if you met your goal is much more, I guess, realistic than just throwing out a wide net.
Yeah. A sales coach that used to come to a company I worked with once said, he was selling books, Bibles, I think, door to door. And he said, I would go knock on somebody's door and she would say, no, not me, but my sister who lives 2 neighborhoods down, I think would really love this. And so he would get in his car and drive down there and waste that time driving. And then she'd say, well, not this week, but maybe next week. But this chick I know, 2 neighborhoods over. And so he was driving all around town. He said, I went back to my boss and, told him what was going on. And the boss said, I told you to go door to door. That means that door, that door, that door, that door. You don't skip a door, no matter if you think they're not home or not. You just go door to door. And it's that consistency and that targeting one specific area that will get you the numbers that you're looking for. And I just thought that was insightful and could be applied in many different ways.
Well, that's the thing too, is, how do you target? Do you target by geographic area? Do you target by condition? Do you target by gender? So there are a lot of different ways to target as well.
Yeah. All right. So a few housekeeping items. If you've joined us before for Practice Partner Academy sessions, you know how this goes. We're going to turn it over to Randy here in a minute, and Sarah and I are going to mute ourselves and take ourselves off camera, but we are still sitting here. If you have any questions at all, type them into the chat or the Q&A as they come into your brain, and then we'll address them at the end. We just don't want you to forget them, so go ahead and type them in. For the most part, they're only visible to us unless you change your settings and want to send a message to the whole group. Along the bottom of your screen, depending on how you have your Zoom set up, you should see a little reactions thing, or you can raise your hand that way, or you can send us some love with a little heart or a little thumbs up sign. So feel free to interact with us that way. Keeps us on our toes. Make sure Randy knows that everyone loves him and all that good stuff.
Obviously.
Well, good.
All right. Sounds good, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and turn myself off. So.
Randy, are you ready?
I'm ready and willing.
Ready to take it away. All right, Randy, take it away.
All right, I'm taking it away. So thank you both. Appreciate that. And thank you, everyone, for coming out on this hot evening. I think, according to the news, about 100 million people are going through the heat. So I'm in New York City, and it's like 90 degrees today, about 95 tomorrow. So appreciate you coming out on a hot one. Hopefully you have a nice tall glass of water. Keep fluids, okay? So what am I talking about? Water. We're not here to talk about water, but I did go door to door, by the way, years ago, selling Fuller brush, selling brushes. So if you need a good brush, let me know. Anyway, I know that you two were just talking about, specific type of, targeting a specific type of patient. And I just want to mention this before I get into this, is that although the title here is about how do I target a specific type of patient online, there's really no right or wrong. There's many podiatrists that are what I call general practitioners, and they will serve anybody that walks through the door, regardless of what's wrong with them, and that's a wonderful thing. There's other podiatrists. That one of ours we spoke with today, Hartley Milchin in Canada, the bunion king. He only works with people that have bunion issues. That's his thing. There's no right or wrong, but some people say, they want to laser focus on something. And nowadays with online, with Google and other things, we have the ability to kind of, pardon the pun, but laser target. So could do so much more nowadays than we could not have done, 20, 30 years ago. So we're going to talk about how to, how to target a specific type of patient. If you don't know me, my name is Randy. I'm the National Director of Podiatry Content Connection. If you don't know us, we've grown to become the #1 digital agency for podiatrists only. We only work with podiatrists. And, we've helped podiatrists, about 500 of them across the United States, attract more new patients from the web, really enhance their overall web presence. And for a small business with just under 50 people, we give back a lot to the industry, have been doing it for 9 years now, of the 10 years we've been in business, and we give back to the colleges every month. And I should mention that we also handle the online marketing for the clinics for Kent State University and Barry University in Florida. So we're proud of that. And they were kind of watching some of their alumni benefit from our services. And so they, kind of wanted us to help them with their clinics, which we're doing. So, I want to mention this up front because a lot of podiatrists have to coach them a bit on two words, expense versus investment. So like, what is an investment? So an investment defined by Google is the action of process of investing money for profit or material result. Online marketing really is an investment in your practice. So a comprehensive web presence, not just a website, meaning a website and content and social media and reputation management, Google, different types of advertising. That's more of a web presence. You can see on the right here, all the different components of a web presence, and easier said than done. And again, I'm getting ready to head out to the APMA National event next week, which I'm looking forward to, and I look forward to seeing Ann and Sarah there as well. And at every conference, every month, every year, for 10 years now, been asking the same question to podiatrists, what's the value of one new patient to your practice? And it's interesting, East Coast to West Coast, over these 10 years, I've spoken to about 4,000 face-to-face during that time. And I ask them, what's the, I call it practice math. What's the value of a new patient to practice over that first year, meaning initial visit and follow-ups and procedures and repeat visits and referrals and all that? And the answer I typically get is about $1,000. So I actually did this recently, thought it was kind of interesting. So how would a small private practice with, say, 1 or 2 or maybe 3 podiatrists, with maybe 1 location, how could you possibly add $1 million in revenue to your podiatry practice in the course of 12 months? So if on average, if 1 new patient is worth about $1,000 over that first year, like I just mentioned, if you took the math and break it down a little bit, $1 million divided by $1,000, because the patient's worth that, you'd need about 1,000 patients needed over that 12-month period. Hopefully that makes sense. And then 1,000 patients per year, or divided by 12 months, is basically about 83 patients a month. And 83 per month is about 20 per week, approximately. And 20 per week over, say, a 5-day work week is about 4 new patients a day. Now, one of our customers came out to me about 2 months ago at a conference that we're getting him 13 new patients a day, which is kind of over the top good. It's not normal, it's above average, but 4 patients a day is still pretty decent, but it's not like crazy number. So many of you are probably seeing 4 new patients a day or 3. So if you had a system that could help you, a marketing system that can kind of consistently attract that number, 4 new patients a day on average, if you did the math like we did here, over the course of a year, you're talking about an additional $1 million in annual revenue to your practice. So I think some important food for thought there. A lot of podiatrists don't think about this, but we've gone through these numbers with our customers, and we've seen this happen over and over and over, and they're thrilled. So online marketing is really a powerful tool for attracting new patients. And again, some view it as an expense. An expense, by the way, is that if you spend, $500 a month on something and it's bringing you in $350 worth of revenue, well, that is an expense. If you're investing $500 a month into something that's bringing you multiples of that, that's an investment. So, that we, live in this search society, and we're all married to our smartphones. And, when looking for a podiatrist, about 99% of the time, people are going to search online. I'm sure you must know that. And then you got to love this picture. Whoa, Google receives over 1 billion searches a day related to healthcare. It's a big number. And us baby boomers getting older and things are happening, so we're visiting doctors more often. Organic SEO, as defined by Google, is organic search engine optimization, refers to methods used to obtain a high placement or ranking on a search engine results page in unpaid algorithm-driven results on a given search engine. So, and in this case, when you're fortunate enough to be there, get good organic SEO, time is a factor in increasing your organic SEO. And also time is a factor if you're fortunate enough to have visibility on Google, when they click on it, when they get to your website, they want to, quickly find what they're looking for. So it should be friendly and easy to navigate design. Otherwise, people at the click of a mouse, they came to you, they can click away just as fast. So they want to have things like outlined in yellow, live links to things like heel pain treatment or foot and ankle pain, to make it easy. A lot of websites, for example, are really cool looking. They just don't, you got to really work hard to find what you're looking for. And people, they have the attention span of a fly. Statistically, you're like 2 to 10 seconds to engage them and draw them in. And then I've heard this actually on TV a little over a month ago. They call them e-patients, where, we know that so many people are researching and utilizing Google. And I know that doctors are not thrilled about this. They call it Dr. Google. They're using Google as a tool, as a research tool before and sometimes during and after visits to a doctor. So, people are craving educational content. So keep in mind, like a website, even if it's gorgeous, it's kind of like an advertisement for you and your practice. Of course, you're going to say great things about you and your practice, but blogs, for example, are educational content done the right way. They really are there to educate and not sell. It's really just to educate. So, we do blogs on a weekly basis for our customers, and every blog every week has a companion article attached to it. So it's really 2 pieces of educational content every single week is a lot of content, and Google likes that. And then, again, I meet the podiatrists at the conferences. They say that, yeah, I'm going to do my own blogs. I said, of course you are, and it just never works because, you'll never have enough time to do it. So, good, consistent content is vital to be seeing and staying on page 1 of Google if you could do it. But, a lot of times they say content is king. So if content is king, we call it consistency is queen. You need those 2 things working together. And again, easier said than done. So organic SEO, it really does take some time to increase, but there is a way to kind of rocket and propel yourself to the top and widen your net on Google. So, Google Ads versus organic SEO, and not that one's right or one's wrong, because they're both great, but organic SEO, Google kind of dictates how far your SEO reach is, and they call that geo-targeted. So if you're in, Houston, Texas, you could be in that area. But Google Ads enables you to target outside of your geo-targeted area. So a lot of our customers would say, well, they want to, of course, serve their area that they're in geo-targeted organically, but they'd like to go outside of their hometown to target affluent areas that are not too far from their hometown. So you can utilize Google Ads to do just that and really kind of pinpoint and laser target your audience. So, some people say, what exactly are Google Ads? And we call them like in the moment ads. So Google Ads is like online advertising program. It's where they make all their money, or most of it. And through Google Ads, you can create online ads to reach patients exactly when they're interested in the services that you offer. So I can't think of anything better. I mean, if somebody's looking for a Wilson tennis racket, boom, you type that into Google and immediately pops up Wilson tennis rackets, whether it's in Amazon or elsewhere, and you go right to it. In the old days, they didn't have this. You know, they did the yellow pages or newspaper advertising. You couldn't go exactly where you wanted. But Google is a phenomenon when it comes to that. And those that know how to utilize Google or get somebody to help you do that are many times laughing all the way to the bank and better serving their community and attracting the type of patients that they want. So how do that work? You know, first of all, you can jump to page 1 of Google, where everyone will see you. And why? Because you're paying your way there. It's pay to play. When you increase your spend, you get quicker results. You're showing up more often because, you know, Google rotates. You win auctions for best keywords, and you can dominate local search with a combination of paid ads and organic listings. So when you find just an example with the red arrows pointing on the top, typically, you know, when you do a search for something like Jeep, you'll see ads up here, and you can see over here where it says ad. I don't know if you can see it, but you know, it says either ad or sponsored, and those are ads. And those are Google ads right there, pushed to the top. But usually if you scroll down a little bit, it says top organic listing. You'll see Jeep SUVs and crossovers, and that goes to Jeep.com. But it's not an ad. And then again, whoops, there we go. So am I going backwards? Maybe, yeah. So that's good. And why are Google ads so effective? Well, again, the numbers are just off the charts. Google receives over 63,000 searches per second. Yeah. And searches for healthcare providers is really within the top 5 or 10. It's the 3rd most popular search out there. So many people are searching for healthcare, and a lot of people for searching for foot and ankle care. So another online ad system that attracts more new patients for your practice is Facebook. You know, Facebook ads are very interesting because a lot of people don't really get it. A lot of podiatrists are really they don't utilize Facebook personally, so they don't really understand it personally or professionally. But yes, Facebook is a ginormous, you know, social network, and a lot of people utilize it to see, you know, whose birthday it is and who's going where on vacation. But it's also a great business tool because Facebook knows so much about our interests that enables you to really, you know, laser target for less money than Google. But it is, I would tell you, kind of like interruption marketing. I'll talk a little bit more about that. So there's differences between Google advertising and advertising on Facebook. So Facebook for business, again, is not personal. The first thing that comes to mind for most is people, when it comes to Facebook, is that a huge social network, like I mentioned before, you know, happy birthday, vacations, etc. But Facebook as a business, you can have a business profile for your podiatry practice, and you can leverage Facebook in your favor to attract new patients through social media. Hang on 1 second. Okay. All right. And so why, you know, what are Facebook ads? So Facebook ads really, they run exclusively through Facebook's advertising platform, and they not only appear on Facebook feeds, but they can also show up on Messenger and even non-Facebook app, you know, websites. So this is a big did you know, but again, there's like 7.5 billion people in the world, and there's about 3 billion Facebook users, which is mind-boggling. And over 68% of adults in the United States have active Facebook accounts. And what active means is that, you know, it's an amazing statistic that people are basically on Facebook every day for, you know, 30 minutes plus. That's an amazing statistic. So 90% of social media marketers believe that of all the platforms out there, Facebook provides the best return on investment. So how does it work? So, you know, Google, in my mind, there's nothing like Google because, like I said before, you know, if somebody's typing in, you know, heel pain treatment for, you know, Dallas, Texas, you're going to pop up right away. Facebook is a different animal. It's what I call interruption marketing. You're on there, you're on your Facebook feed. Let's just say that I live in a certain area, I earn a certain income, I'm a certain age range. I like to run. I subscribe to Running Magazine. Well, there's a profile right there. So maybe somebody want to target runners or dancers or whatever, they can do that. So I'm scrolling through my Facebook feed to see whose birthday it is, who's on vacation, all of a sudden, boom, an ad for orthotics comes up or heel pain or whatever it is, because I might be a good prospect because I fit that description, and Facebook knows the characteristics of what I do and what I like and all that good stuff. So it's what I call interruption marketing, where Google is kind of like search marketing, which is pretty amazing. So, and then Facebook has like, call to action ads. You could share via email, messenger, and share with friends on Facebook. So it's got a pass along factor there. And so why are Facebook ads effective? You get to adjust your target audience. You can kind of tweak it and to be as broad or well defined as you like based on the following criteria. As I mentioned before: location, demographics, interests, hobbies, and certain behaviors. So there's a lot of tweaking that can go on, and it can become a little bit of a science. I should mention my son does a lot of advertising on Facebook, like a lot, and he's become like a scientist with this stuff. And it's amazing what he's done over the last 4 years he's been on this. So he's a pro with this stuff. But again, this is a missed opportunity for a lot of podiatrists. I hate to say that they're clueless about Facebook, but many are clueless. And the key is to be open-minded to learn about it, how it could affect you and help your practice. I should mention that Facebook advertising is less expensive than Google advertising, but they're different animals. So again, the cost. So you get to specify how much you want to spend, the overall amount, or you could do a daily budget, or your cost per result. So there's different options on that. And as far as how to get the most out of Facebook ads, you kind of know the algorithms and changes and track and choose campaign goals, make adjustments. Again, I suggest don't try this stuff at home. I always say outsource and delegate this. There's so many people and companies that can help you with this. We happen to, for example, specialize with podiatrists only, so we're really skilled at this type of thing. You want to get somebody, if you're a foot and ankle specialist, don't get bogged down with online marketing and do it yourself. We don't promote that. And I know some gurus out there say, oh, just try this, but nothing's that easy. So outsource and delegate to be just like people come to you for the foot and ankle conditions. And then, our Facebook ads and boosting a post, the same thing. And the answer is no. So what is the difference? A boosted post on Facebook is simply a current post on your brand's Facebook page that you would like to put money behind so you can reach an audience of your choosing. A Facebook ad is a more thought out campaign created within Facebook Ads Manager that allows you a bunch of different options to choose from that are not available when just choosing, boosting a post. And, as far as goals, I think that when you boost a post, it's really about increasing patient engagement on Facebook equals boosting a post. If you want new patients and website focused and drive people to website, talk about Facebook ads. Excuse me 1 second. Wen, please stop, okay? I heard some noise in the background there. Sorry about that. And then, so I'm kind of like throwing a lot of stuff at you about, algorithms and, Facebook advertising and online advertising. And again, a lot of times when I speak with a podiatrist, they're really not clear and weren't aware of how they could start to utilize Google and Facebook to really get narrow to target market their audience. And for many practices, not all, it's just an absolute game changer. So what does this have to do with, for your practice? Again, Google ads get you to the top of page 1. It makes you much more visible online, like instant visibility. Facebook ads adds about 3 billion users and enables you to target, laser target your audience. So drive more potential patients to your website and schedule an appointment with you guys. So again, throwing a lot of stuff at you, but there's a lot of stuff involved with Facebook and Google and all the other stuff. We didn't even touch on all the other things that can go around that, but these are two very powerful platforms that help podiatrists that know how to utilize them or find somebody who can help them attract more new patients, and not just attract more new patients, but attract what we call more ideal patients. So again, I just want to mention this, don't try this stuff at home. There is some rocket science involved here. And I've spoken to way too many podiatrists that have tried this, tipped their toe in the water, and it didn't work out so well. So, most successful leaders they know about delegating and outsourcing. And, we've had to learn that as our business has grown. We've learned the skill of delegating and outsourcing because, you want to stick to your unique abilities. If you spent 4 years of college and then 4 years of podiatry school and 3 years of residency to become a foot and ankle specialist, that's your unique ability, not doing Google ads. So, if you've ever tried to do Google ads by yourself or Facebook ads on your own, you may know what I'm talking about. Some, podiatrists have crashed and burned and left a sour taste in their mouth. But again, you want to find somebody that knows how to do this. So there's a lot of other podiatrists are wondering why their competition, they kind of sat on the sidelines watching their competition use Google ads and Facebook ads to grow their practice, and you're a spectator, you're watching them. So you've been curious about that, but maybe you've never taken the plunge yet. So again, Google is an amazing company. They offer so many incredible free services, but the powerhouse of Google and where they make almost all of their money is Google ads. And one of the reasons they make so much money is because they work. They work really well. And it's a game changer for so many practices. So, hopefully we may have piqued your interest and opened your mind to a kind of a new marketing channel that maybe you have thought about, you've seen other people that could possibly benefit your practice. And if any of those, describe you, that it might make sense to schedule a what we call a web strategy session. We do this all the time. I enjoy doing it to enlighten podiatrists, to guide them to open their eyes to something that they didn't know. I learned something years ago. You probably heard it before. There's things that like how to treat foot and ankle conditions. There's things that that you don't know, like maybe you don't know how to speak fluent Chinese. I don't. And there's things that you don't know. So that's where I think some of this fits in, where it's something about online marketing you really don't know. I don't want to say that you're clueless, but it would benefit your practice. So when I'm at the conferences, I enjoy speaking with podiatrists that are curious to learn more, to pick our brains, because that's all we do is help podiatrists every day of the week. And I get so many calls of people that have gone down this route that it's changed their whole world. It's changed their practice, their livelihood, and how they practice and how they treat their things. So, again, you don't need to be an expert on this stuff, because we are. We have at Podiatry Conduct Connection, we have just an amazing team. We really cracked the code on how to use Google and Facebook ads to grow the practice. Now, I'm not certified and trained by Google, but my team is. A lot of folks on our team, so they are really, really good at what they do. So it's a great skill. So some of the ways that we're helping podiatrists every day of the week is when it comes to things like Google ads, for example, and content marketing, we also have proprietary software that gives us almost an unfair advantage for our customers to help them. Some of them, if they want to dominate in a certain area, or really just have tremendous visibility on page one of Google, in both in the way of advertising, but also through content marketing, that we do things like blogs and articles on a weekly basis. It's a winning combination when you combine content marketing that's consistent with intelligent, skillful advertising via Google, for example, is hard to beat. So on these, when we have these strategy sessions, we just give podiatrists, much greater clarity about goals and, that type of thing. So I encourage you to, pick our brain. So if any of this makes sense to you, I'm going to wrap up with this. I love doing this. So I'm happy to, speak with you about this if you want to schedule a web strategy session. And actually, just as a thank you, because we know doctors are busy. So to thank you, if you tell them, we'll send you a $50 Amazon gift card after your session. But if you're interested in that, you can actually text me directly. Just text, my number is 917-572-5088, and just text web strategy session is the secret password to get one. We don't charge for this. In most cases, almost all the time, doctors are thanking me. This is not a sales pitch. It's really, it's to help you gain some clarity, get some strategy, give you options, and talk to you, guide you through. So again, most podiatrists really appreciate it, and they felt it's time well spent. So speaking of that, speaking of time, appreciate your time again, coming out this evening. And Ann and Sarah, I'm going to throw it back to you guys if you have any questions or anybody else has any questions. I'm happy to address it. But thank you for your time.
Awesome. Randy, thank you. If you guys have any questions for Randy, go ahead and type them into the Q&A or the chat. Or there's actually just a good group handful of us on right now. So if you would like to actually talk and address an issue that you're experiencing, or, information that you'd like to have, go ahead and just raise your hand and then we'll unmute you so we can have a chat and address your actual issues.
That'd be great.
People are thinking of their questions, Randy. One thing that, and I know we've kind of talked about this before, but if anyone is just joining us, that hasn't seen a presentation in previous months, when you start with a new client that has had experience with something like Google AdWords, what kind of, what bad apple ruined the bunch? Where have people had pitfalls in the past where they may not trust it moving forward?
Yeah. One thing is that they go too wide. They want to target, 5 or 6 or 7 different things: heel pain, foot pain, orthotics, laser. They're a little bit all over the place. In many cases, we need to kind of, tame the lion, so to speak, and get them focused, and also let them know that some tweaking involved. So it's not a magic pill. It's not a set it and forget it. And that's one of the reasons we do review calls with our customers, especially those that are doing things like Google Ads. So that's one thing, is that they're a little bit all over the place, and we need to, kind of get some clarity and direction and intent, and start with one thing or 2 things and roll that out, and make sure that there's a proper budget. I mean, if somebody says, I'll throw $100 at this thing, I would say save your money. Our minimum budget, by the way, is like $300 for a monthly budget. And if for any reason you were not to use that, which is unusual, that would roll over to the next month. But in many cases, you would, go through that budget maybe in the first couple of weeks of the month, which is, I guess, good news and bad news. The bad news is you went through your budget. The good news is you went through your budget. And then it's all about conversion. So if they land on your website or wherever they go, is the phone going to ultimately ring, or they just kind of land there and go away?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Randy, we did just have a question come in from Charles Perry. He says, I have an active Facebook now that we have good giveaways, that gets good hits. What else would you do exactly? And if I can elaborate on this, I'm thinking what a good action item is I've got a Facebook page, it's successful. What is my next step? Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's surveys, there's promotions, there's announcements. You kind of mix it up, and you can, again, kind of trial and error and try different things and see what works, what doesn't. And in our world in Facebook, we do, 2 different avenues. One is posting to Facebook. So again, if we're doing blogs and actually Charles Perry is one of our customers. It looks like Dr. Vakil is on here as well. So a couple of our customers here. So I said, we're doing that for you already. So we're posting blogs and what we call spot campaigns that are like mini ads to your Facebook page on a regular basis. But if you're advertising on Facebook, then maybe you want to have some sort of promotion, or like an ebook. If you want to do like an ebook on heel pain treatment or something like that, to give them where you can maybe point them to whether it be a landing page, or they can download something in exchange for an email address or a free session like we recommend, that type of thing.
I was going to say, because I mean, just looking at and this could be just the way that the question's worded, but it's great that the Facebook page gets good hits, but obviously we want conversions. We want conversions of appointment schedule.
Right. Yeah.
So in that sense, if you are working with someone that is getting a lot of traffic, but kind of that final trigger isn't being hit, what do you recommend at that point? Where's maybe the what's getting lost?
Yeah, I mean, it's, again, a lot of it is about tracking. We utilize like a dashboard that kind of shows where things originate from and where they go and what people are clicking on. I mean, there's a whole kind of science behind that. From and to. So it could be from a Facebook page that might go back to your website, or it might be something at your website that points elsewhere. You know. So.
Gotcha.
My dogs are barking, so I can't ask any questions for the moment.
Maybe they're asking a question, you know. So, and you know, it's funny you mentioned dogs. We all love our dogs. So animals are interesting. You know, people love animal pictures. Even on my presentation, we had a couple cute pictures of children. You know, I mean, people like that. You know, sports are cool also. You could do things that tie into current events, or whether it be sporting events or whatever. I don't recommend current events like politics. I would stay away from that, but different things. You get creative.
I have a comment, and then Dr. Perry just mentioned something else. Pictures. Sarah and I do this all the time. In our emails, we try to put a picture of the two of us kind of at the top. And that really does get attention. People want to see that there's an actual person behind it, and that you're not just, you know, some generic office. Lots of offices have, you know, staff appreciation days where you might order pizza or something. So take a photo and send that out in an email. That's easy, right?
Right. Yep. No doubt about it. That's a good thing. I got my picture here. I think I have the same picture on my new business card. So it's good to know, you know, people know who they're dealing with and who are these people. I go to too many podiatrist websites, prospective podiatrists or prospective customers, and I see it has a bio about them, but there's no picture. You know,
right?
Well, I mean, they were like, who is this person? What do they look like? You know, and that's another thing, by the way, that videos are very good for. I see podiatrists that have, you know, kind of video interviews or doing something about a procedure. People can get a feel for your personality and your mannerisms. I kind of like this guy or this gal. Yeah, I'm gonna go see them. So
that's the thing. I mean, healthcare is a very personal service,
right?
And so it is a lot of times. I find when there are certain things, when certain types of companies get too personal, I'm like, this is not necessary. Like, let's just keep distance. But healthcare is a little bit different. And I think, you know, obviously the credibility of the credentials of the physician in general are important, but knowing, you know, it's a very real sense of trust that you have to have with your healthcare provider. And so if you can become more human, that definitely helps.
Yeah. So Dr. Perry said, so you wouldn't recommend spending money on giveaways. By the way, Ellen is great.
Ellen is great. She's awesome. We just gave her a bonus, and we recognize our people. But yeah, and I think if I'm not mistaken, if it was Dr. Perry that said something about Ellen recently in a good way, that he really gets a lot from the review calls with her. So, you know, our team, you know, one of the things that we take pride in is that we really get to know the doctors. You don't get the customer service rep of the week, so to speak. Like, our account managers know our customers and they stick with them over time, you know, over years, and they get to know, they build a relationship. It's nice. So Ellen is great. And I've heard that a couple times this week alone. So I'm always thrilled when I hear that. So thank you. Appreciate that.
That's good. Why haven't we met Ellen?
She's on my team, but she's on the back end. So if you're really, she's not on business development, she's on customer support. So she's busy all day long with what we call onboarding calls and launch calls and review calls. So on any given day, she could have, you know, anywhere between 3 and 4 calls, which can be exhausting. You know.
Yeah.
I do think it's really, I am excited though that Dr. Perry mentioned that Ellen is great. I don't know Ellen, I'm sure she is great, but one of the challenges for a lot of companies in order that provide, you know, all sorts of services, whether it be marketing services or wound care, whatever, a lot of companies have great customer service teams, and you don't know until you give them a chance. And so it's really hard. So I am just happy that Dr. Perry mentioned that, because you know, you can say, well, we've got this great service, we've got this great price, our turnaround time is fantastic.
Yeah.
And customer service is kind of one of those things where it's like, oh, everyone says that, but it's not always true. And you don't know until you dive in, but you can't just dive in all the time. So it's tough to know that.
We've been very fortunate. I know that, it's a big problem right now in podiatry is, getting and keeping staff, and so we've been very fortunate in that, besides having an excellent customer retention rate with our customers, we have an excellent retention rate with our employees, and we do a lot of things to keep them and recognize them and all that stuff. And I'm about to coordinate a Top Golf event for our people, and
fun!
And I'm going to see you guys at the APMA event. So you will meet not Ellen, she won't be there, but Cindy will be there. Not Cindy Pezza, but our Cindy Ngala. And so she's another one that's awesome in customer support. And they're the ones, in business development, we help bring on customers, but they're the ones that really start and maintain. And a lot of times, but just speaking very candidly, a lot of podiatrists, they hear our story, they like the fact that we're podiatry only, and maybe we'll get back to the colleges, and it seems like we have a good thing here, but they really don't know. It's like they're dating us and they're checking us out. But it's the Ellens and the Cindys. It's not me. It's Ellen and Cindy and our whole team. There's lots of them that are the ones that really pave the road and build the relationship so that they get to the point where they really know and they like and trust us. And then when that happens, it changes everything. And they're like a trusted advisor. I spoke with one of our customers in New York City, where I am, last week, and she was telling me that, again, Ellen saved the day during COVID. She was, she has two offices, both in business districts. One's in the Wall Street area, one's in Midtown. And she went from booming to like crickets for a long time and was struggling. And Ellen guided her. And we, with some of them, we did Google Ads, but we adjust the Google Ads to talk about not going to the emergency room during COVID. Come see your, a podiatrist for certain things. So it really, again, we hear these things from our customers, and I hear it at the conferences, which is one of the good things, because the attendance at the conferences has not been so wonderful in the last year or two. I'm sure you know that. But what I do enjoy is meeting our customers there and hearing these types of stories, and they come back to me a year later because, I'm the guy that maybe introduced them to all these services, but they're like, oh, let's see how this goes. So typically the proof is in the pudding, and
right.
A year later, they're like, you know what? This is the real deal. It helps us. It's, and by the way, when we help a podiatry practice, we're not just helping the practice, we're helping them serve their community better. If they're a good podiatrist, and they should be out there and be visible, and, and if all goes well, they can add another podiatrist and expand and serve more and open up more locations. So, we, somebody mentioned this to me the other day, is that our company has had a real impact on this whole industry. We're not Baco, and, we don't occupy 50% of the market, but we have enough. We've served, 500 podiatrists that we've made our mark in helping certain podiatrists. I know this for a fact, that we're absolutely in a tailspin because they just didn't know how to utilize marketing to grow their practice, and others that were what I'd call intermediates, that were doing okay to begin with, and not bad. They just wanted to do more. They're a bit more entrepreneurial, a bit more aggressive, had a bit more appetite, and we've taken that to the next level. And again, there is no right or wrong for that. Some that are maybe my age, they're coming in for a landing that say another year or two, and I'm going to go fishing, and I'm going to retire or sell the practice. And so they don't want to be aggressive, but others, depending on, what they're doing. So, there's no right or wrong, but it's all good, and we enjoy what we do. And I always like to hear. So thank you, Dr. Perry, for the kind words, and appreciate that.
He did leave another comment. He said, my competition, which is hospital-based, is booked out a month or more, while I can get people in a day or the same day. I'm spending a lot on advertising, and I know they spend nothing. How can I find out or investigate what is wrong or why I'm struggling?
That's interesting. Almost sounds hard to believe that they're not advertised, but if they're hospital-based, that's a big base right there. It's a giant hospital is like a giant network. So I think that there's probably some big benefits to utilizing and leveraging referral sources, or multiple from the hospitals. Could be, how many doctors could be associated with a hospital. When you start to think about that, it really could be powerful and difficult to compete with, you know. But,
yeah, I think it's a combination of insurance, wanting to go in network and things like that, and also physician referrals.
Right.
So, and physician referrals is something that we talked about going door to door before. That's something where you have to build those relationships with the neighboring physicians and other specialties so that you can get those referrals. There's no like switch to turn on, really, I don't think.
Right.
Well, and I think a lot of times, like you just said, the reason why these patients are choosing where they're going, this is why there's a big shift toward cash services and kind of like the shopper type services versus just referrals.
Yep.
Where, we are kind of shopping for a very specific type of service versus just doing something that is always covered by insurance and that is just, you're getting your referral from your family practitioner.
Yeah. And by the way, that's a great point. I really didn't speak about it tonight, but I mean, for so many podiatrists that have, whether it's shockwave or a Swift device or a laser, and they are underutilizing it because really not promoting it that well. I mean, Google Ads, for example, is an amazing tool to monetize in a big way that type of equipment because it's cash-based. So again, it's one of the top ways you can utilize Google Ads would be monetizing equipment like that. It's great.
Yeah, I think all of those, cash services, like things like aesthetic services that, again, just aren't really your standard referral type conditions. That's where I think they can make big differences with this type of advertising.
Yep, no doubt.
Yeah.
All good. So if any of you are going to be at the APMA conference next week in Orlando, we're going to be at booth number 718. And I stocked up on all kinds of goodies because it was Amazon Prime Day last week. So we've got all kinds of goodies. Drop by, and I'm going to be like Santa Claus giving them out. So it's all good.
Awesome.
Christmas in July.
That's right.
Yeah.
A lot of people are talking about that. Yeah, Christmas in July.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we will definitely be there. So we'll be sure to see you. And hopefully we'll see some other physicians while we're there. And
faces.
Yeah, and we'll look forward to next month's monthly marketing tips with Randy.
All right. Well, thank you again for having me, and thank you guys for coming out. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, everybody.
Take care, everyone.
Hopefully we'll see you next week. If not, we'll see you on the next PPA.
See you when we see you.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Yeah.